Can everybody hear me? Yeah.
At this absolute desperate emergency protest. Today, Heba Muraisi is on day 73 of a hunger strike. Kamran Ahmed is 66 days on hunger strike. And Chiaramello is on 51 days of alternate days of hunger strike. It is a desperate situation, and all three of them are in imminent danger. And we're here to say loudly and clearly that we send our solidarity to the hunger strikers. And we're here to say we support their demands. We support their demand for immediate release. It is unconscionable that these people who are guilty of no crime have been over 12 months in jail. It is unconscionable. It is appalling. They should be immediately released. We stand with them in demanding a fair trial. We stand with them in demanding that the ridiculous ban on Palestine action should be immediately lifted. And we stand with them 100% on saying shut down Ailbhe system, end complicity with genocide. And this meeting tonight, organised by the IPSC, represents Irish people right across this country, standing with the hunger strikers and demanding that the Keir Starmer government do not let them die, that they meet their demands, that they release the prisoners. In 1981, Margaret Thatcher presided over the death of 8 hunger strikers in this country. And we are saying loudly and clearly to Keir Starmer and the Labour government in Britain, do not repeat that crime. Do not let the hunger strikers die. On this, we have a lot of speakers. Some of them are under really serious pressure to speak and leave. So I'm going to first of all hand over to Lewie, President of the Irish Congress of Trade Unions, speaking on behalf of Irish workers, on behalf of the Irish Congress of Trade Unions. Lewie.
Thanks very much for the invitation, first of all. And this is a very important gathering. It is
like an ice cream.
It is. Sorry, if you can't hear me. What I just said is to show our solidarity with our colleagues north and south of this island who have been raising the issue with the British government and the absolute madness of the hunger strike being allowed to continue. I come from a profession which knows what 70 days without food means. And it is very close to being incompatible with life. And that's just not right. It's not normal. This is not normal. What's happening in Gaza is not normal. What's happening in the West Bank is not normal. And we cannot allow it to be put down the agenda when it comes to other matters of economic importance. Human life that is now out of this country have been raising money to, for example, have ambulances that are kitted out, purpose-built to allow women to give birth in Gaza in a dignified manner, and they've been refused entry by the Israeli government. We wrote to our minister yesterday because we know she's in Egypt today, and we said whatever you can do and whatever pressure the Irish government can do, surely to God we can stand on the ground of humanity and allow the very, very basic human right of giving birth in a safe place to be outside of the reach of the Israeli government. And colleagues, what's happening with the hunger strikers? We're very happy to be signatories to the very good letter sent to the British government yesterday by the IP, the Irish Palestinian Solidarity Community. And it is important that these gatherings are happening. It is important that we are not normalising what is absolutely abnormal. And we give the solidarity of the workers affiliated to the Irish Congress of Trade Unions, north and south of this island. It's not normal, it's not right, and that's our message.
Yes, Steve, for gathering everyone here tonight. Thank you for all being here. It's a bad night, I'll be brief, but I absolutely feel incredibly strongly about this. I am outraged when I think, when I read, when I see what is happening to the comrades from Palestine Action who have been so wrongly deemed to be terrorists, who are being held in a British jail and are now on hunger strike because of their political beliefs, because they stood up for their political beliefs. And we know what that means in this country. I vividly remember 1981 and the 10 people who starved and were allowed to starve by the British government in the Maze prison. And let me remind us all that Bobby Sands died, if my memory serves me correctly, on the 73rd day of his hunger strike. At the moment, this young woman whose image we see behind us, look at her face, a young woman full of hope, determination, belief, passion, commitment to freedom, not just for herself, not just for her comrades, but for all her people, for all Palestinians. Think of her, look at her, say to yourself, she is on the 73rd day of her hunger strike. It's a miracle that she is still with us today. The doctors say that she is having muscle spasms, breathing difficulties, chest pain, that her immune system is in complete collapse, that she is mere skin and bone. But she is indomitable spirit. She is the spirit itself of freedom for Palestine. And if I am in tears when I say that, it's because this should not be happening. The British government, as it has been, and I say it, as it has been throughout our own history, an absolute disgrace when it comes to protest, is yet again disgracing itself by letting these people die. I call that murder. To fail to intervene, to allow someone to die, is effectively to kill them. And there is a word for that, and it is a criminal offence. Unlike the four comrades in jail in Britain, where they have not been tried, they have not been convicted, they have denied all the charges. This is absolutely shameful, and our government should stand up straight.
As experienced as those powerful speakers that have come before me, we're all here to acknowledge the incredible sacrifice of Heba, Kamran and Lewie and the others who are on hunger strike and close to death. This is their peaceful protest, not only against the systematic injustice of the British justice system, but of the ongoing genocide of the Palestinian people. And for that, they are being treated like terrorists. And despite that, they have not been convicted of a single crime. Meanwhile, their government arms a genocidal regime which is killing men, women and children. And the Filton 24, like many of us, like all of us here tonight, just want the violence to stop. They want an end to the genocide. They want Netanyahu and his entire regime, because it's not just one man, to be held accountable and for their impunity to stop. As of today, as we've already heard, he was on day 73 of her hunger strike. And the sad reality is she may not simply live much longer than that. Her friends who've seen her, they say that she speaks with a resignation to that fact, that even if she does live, her life has changed forever, her health would never be the same. And what an incredible sacrifice for one young woman to make. We in Ireland, we do know too well about the powerful and devastating effects that hunger strikes can have. It is the ultimate act of personal sacrifice in political defiance and resilience. It is no small act. We've heard about the hunger strikers of the 1980s. We've also need to remember Hannah Sheehy Skeffington, who was an early hunger striker against British occupation. Terence McSweeney, who was an early hunger striker. This is something that runs deep in our blood. I think sometimes when you speak to people in Britain, they're like, why do you care? What drives you? And it's because it's within our history. It's so fundamental to who we are. We're appalled watching people near death while our governments fail to do even the bare minimum. We talk about the Occupied Territories Bill. It's the bare minimum. And even still, we wait and we wait. We know with our own eyes that the real crime being committed is not of those peaceful protesters, it's the crimes against humanity in Gaza and the West Bank. And how can our European leaders watch another Palestinian baby freeze to death in a flooded tent in the rubble of Gaza and say to themselves, oh, we're doing enough, we're doing all we can do? I strongly reject how the British government has chosen to police Palestinian demonstrations over the last few months, years. That's not unique to the UK. We've seen it in Germany. We've seen it with the treatment of Irish citizen Daniel Daly. We've seen it with the Irish bloc and their treatment in Berlin last year, the brutal actions against Irish citizens. Our government love to say we're a country of international law. We are a country with that holds human rights. But words aren't enough. You can't say that into being. You implement that. And sometimes that means strong leadership is having very difficult conversations, even with their closest allies. And so that is why I expect both the Taoiseach and the Minister of Foreign Affairs to be having those difficult conversations with the British government. We are on the precipice, or perhaps we've already passed, international law having any real meaning anymore. And for a country the size of Ireland, that should terrify us all. So we must call for human rights to be upheld, even when it's a difficult conversation to have. That is traditional diplomacy, that is what strong good leadership is, that is what courage is. But unfortunately, I do not think that our current government holds those values. I will continue to call for the release of the Filton 24. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. Free Palestine. Free
Palestine! Ten leaders and some chance now so that everybody can voice their solidarity. And after that, we will have Blue O'Shea to sing a tune.
One struggle, one fight! One struggle, one fight.
We support the hunger strike.
We are all.
Palestine action.
We are all.
Palestine action.
We are all.
Palestine action.
We support.
Palestine action.
We support.
Palestine action.
Keep on strike.
Palestine action.
Keep on strike.
Palestine action.
We support.
Palestine action.
We support.
Palestine action.
We are all.
Palestine action.
We are all.
Palestine action.
Say it clear, say it loud. Hunger strikers make us proud. Say it clear, say it loud.
Hunger strikers make us proud.
Say it clear, say it loud.
Hunger strikers make us proud.
Say it clear, say it loud.
Hunger strikers make us proud.
Heba, you 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 make us proud.
Kamran, 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 you make us proud.
Lewie, 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 you make us proud.
Say it clear, say it loud.
Hunger strikers make us proud.
Say it clear, say it loud.
Hunger strikers make us proud.
Say it clear, say it loud.
Hunger strikers make us proud.
One body, one fight.
Hunger strike.
One body, one fight.
We support the hunger strike.
One body, one fight.
We support the hunger strike.
One body, one fight.
We support the hunger strike.
Keir Starmer, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Keir Starmer, you can't hide.
We charge you with genocide.
Keir Starmer, you can't hide.
We charge you with genocide.
David Lammy, you can't hide.
We charge you with genocide.
David Lammy, you can't hide.
We charge you with genocide.
British government, you can't hide.
We charge you with genocide.
British government, you can't hide.
We charge you with genocide.
And free.
Palestine!
Free.
Palestine!
We're going to have a song now from Blue O'Shea. It's a particularly appropriate song for the situation we're in. I'll let Rue introduce it himself. Thanks very much, Rue, for joining us.
Good evening, Barrett. I'd like to sing the words of Bobby Sands, and I'd invite you to join in with me on the chorus, please. In 1803 we sailed out to sea, off from the sweet town of Derry. Australia bound if we did not drown, the marks of our fetters we carried. In our rusty iron chains we cried out for our winds, our good women we left in sorrow. As the mainsail unfurled, our curses we hurled on the English and thoughts of tomorrow. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. At the mouth of the file bade farewell to the soil, as down below decks we were lying. Oh, Doherty screamed, being awoke from a dream by a vision of Bal Robert dying. And the sun had burned cruel as we dished out the gruel. Dan O'Connor was down with a fever. 60 rebels today, bound for Botany Bay. How many would reach their receiver? Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. I cursed them to hell as our bow fought the swell. Our ship danced like a moth in the firelight. White horses rode high as the devil rode by, taking souls down to Hades by twilight. 5 weeks out to sea, we were now 43. We buried our comrades each morning in our own slime, lost in the time. Endless night without dawning. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. And Van Diemen's Land is a hell for a man to live out his whole life in slavery, where the climate is raw and the gun makes the law. Neither wind nor rain care for bravery. 20 years have gone by, I have finished my bond, the ghosts of my comrades behind me. And the rebel I came, but I'm still the same. On the cold wind of night you will find me. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry.
Thank you, Richard.
Thanks, Helen, and well done to you and the IPSC for organising this incredibly important protest. The term Orwellian is used often when words mean the opposite of the things they're supposed to represent, but nowhere is this more appropriate than the plight that these brave protesters who have been on hunger strike and who now face the possibility of their lives ending have been described and are on hunger strike and face the possible end of their lives being described as terrorists when they have not hurt a single soul. They haven't hurt anybody. The reason they are in this dilemma is because they are horrified about the actual terrorism being inflicted on Palestinians that have claimed the lives of 70,000 people, but in fact we know far, far more than that. Or the 100 children who've been killed since the so-called ceasefire as Israel continues to rain down the genocidal terrorist horror that they are inflicting on the people of Gaza. And yet, it is not the Israeli regime that are described by Keir Starmer, or for that matter our government, as the terrorists, when they should be, but it is brave people like Heba and Kamran and Lewie who are described as terrorists and therefore imprisoned, and then take the incredibly brave decision to go on hunger strike to protest about this perverse Orwellian designation of their protest action and now face the possible end of their life. It is horrifying. And I don't know, I was talking to Des Geraghty there beforehand, and you know, he was expressing complete disbelief that a Labour Party in Britain could be standing over this. And the silence, a human rights lawyer, it is utterly shameful. that they could be allowing this to happen and seem absolutely unconcerned about the fact that these brave protesters, even if they don't agree with them, if they don't agree with the tactic, they just don't care. They don't care. But at the same time, the representatives of the Israeli state, the Israeli ambassador, who defend the genocidal horror that Israel inflicts on the people of Palestine, are allowed to walk around Britain freely, are allowed to speak on the media as if they are sort of representing some kind of normal point of view, when in fact they are terrorists and their regime is in the dock for genocide. It's absolutely shocking. But I have to say, our government, now unless Helen is going to surprise me and tell me that the government have signed the letter that we all signed yesterday, going to the Starmer government, it has been raised, I've raised it repeatedly, other opposition TDs have appealed to our government to make representations repeatedly on behalf of the hunger strikers, and to my knowledge, not a dicky bird. I asked them again today, as did others, will you please make an emergency appeal to the Starmer government to intervene and end this so that these people don't die? And nothing. Nothing. It is absolutely shameful. But should we be surprised when this same government is now diluting the Occupied Territories Bill and delaying it? And I think we all know in our hearts that if they can get away with it, their intention is not even to pass the Occupied Territories Bill. Never mind the sort of sanctions that most of us would want against this genocidal apartheid regime for the crimes that it is committing against humanity. It is utterly nauseating. So, well done to you for coming out and protesting. We have to continue the protest for these brave people because their lives are at stake, and we have to continue the struggle that they are waging for the people of Palestine and for humanity, because that's what's at stake. This is about humanity. This is about, do we want to live in a human world, or do we want to live in the sick and twisted world of Netanyahu, of Donald Trump, and their apologists and those who are complicit with them, like Starmer and so many other European governments. I know where you stand, but we're going to have to keep up the fight, because these people are an absolute disgrace.
Does that show the shameful cruelty of that government? Shame, shame, shame! Our next speaker is Tommy McKearney, a veteran Republican hunger striker, the longest hunger striker in the Maze prison when the 1908 hunger striker came to an end. Please welcome Tommy.
Thank you for this opportunity to address this marvellous crowd, offering their support to those gallant, brave people on hunger strike in England. Let me say, perfidious Albion, Britain, dangerous, destructive, brutal, hypocritical. Tonight you have repeated what you have done for centuries. You have plundered many lands. You have terrified many people. Nothing changes over the centuries. Once again, we are seeing what has been perpetrated for so many years, what we are so familiar with, and done for why. Hypocrites, despicable behaviour. People should be aware that what's happening in Britain today is not done without consideration. The British state, Keir Starmer, designating heroic young people standing up for generous humanity, has designated them as terrorists, as previous speakers have said, people who have not drawn one drop of blood, as distinct from Keir Starmer's regime. Keir Starmer's regime has hosted Ailbhe, an Israeli company which manufactured weaponry to perpetrate a genocide in Palestine.
Shut Ailbhe down!
Keir Starmer's regime, which authorised the Royal Air Force to fly from Cyprus over Gaza to provide intelligence for the Zionist military to murder, slaughter, commit genocide against the Palestinian people in Gaza. And that regime has the hypocrisy to describe Palestine action as terrorists, young, brave people who have only attempted to highlight the injustices, the horrendous murder being perpetrated and being complicit as the regime in Britain is. Fact is that to perpetrate their vile actions, this regime has decided to make their own law. They've changed the right to jury trial, not as they claim because they're trying to clear a backlog, but so that the people of England, the people of Britain, and there are very many decent British people, in fact a majority of the British people are decent if they're given the chance to hear the truth. So to prevent the jury trial hearing the evidence coming from those brave people, they've decided to abolish jury trials. They've decided not to give them bail. They have decided to allow those brave people to die, something we must endeavour to prevent. Let's repeat what I've heard before. We must call on this government to take action. This government that has not only tolerated, endorsed effectively the British state's brutality, but it has refused to enact the Occupied Territories Bill. It has facilitated the transportation of arms to Shannon Airport without ceasing. And within the last couple of days, it has facilitated the removal of a protest camp against the academic liaison with the Zionist institutions, which were supporting and endorsing the exchange of evidence and exchange of scientific process to facilitate the manufacturing of arms. This supine state government has to be told that it cannot continue to hide, because it will not be allowed to hide thanks to yourself, the heroic people who have in the past stood heroically behind those who have struggled for freedom, justice and the rights of humanity. So let's commit ourselves to support and thanking those heroic young people on hunger strike tonight, Heba, Kamran and Lewie. We send you our deepest support, solidarity and admiration for what you're doing, because you're challenging the monstrous regime in Britain, the deep state and its government that is holding a flag, holding the hand of the murderous regime in Israel. Keep in mind, they're not doing it for disinterested reasons. They're doing it to uphold the imperialist order. Keir Starmer is designated now by Donald Trump to take part in some ridiculous board that's going to control Gaza. Believe it or not, Britain once again returning to control Palestine. Let's never forget that in the aftermath of the Balfour Agreement and the establishment by the British of a state that was to become the Israeli Zionist state, that 70% of the Palestine police set up by Britain were former members of the Black and Tans. So when you tell us that we don't understand what's happening in Palestine, we don't understand why the British are perpetrating their outrages in Palestine, we understand only too well. So, once again, thank you. Heba, thank you. Thank you,
what political parties were supporting. Of course we know. People before profit are supporting the letter that went. They signed it. So did Sinn Féin. So did the Social Democrats. And so did the Green Party. And of course, the Labour Party. And there are many, many organisations, the Irish Congress of Trade Unions, the Irish National Teachers Organisation, the TUI, my own union, the Unison Northern Ireland, and loads of solidarity organisations, AFRI, Financial Justice Ireland, COLOV, and many, many more. And it represents the strength of feeling across this country, because as we meet here in protest, there's many demonstrations around the country. There was a hunger strike in Cork in solidarity with the hunger strikers. There's a vigil in Galway. There's vigils all over this country. We stand with the hunger strikers, but we stand demanding that the Keir Starmer government take action now. And yes, as so many of our speakers have said, that the Irish government take action to tell the British government that they must not let the hunger strikers die. So please welcome Jonica.
It's always wonderful to see such a crowd mobilise so quickly and in such terrible conditions. And it's poignant and it's difficult to follow Tommy. And here, back home in Derry, written by Bobby Sands. Sorry, there's a small fleet back there. Closer, thanks. Yeah. It was poignant to hear Back Home in Derry by Bobby Sands. But it also underlines a key point when we think about hunger strikes. Bobby Sands, we all have a vision in our mind. People like Tommy remember him personally. We all have a vision in our mind of him and the actions that he took. But Bobby Sands didn't live to see his 30s, not to mind his 60s, which would be the age he would have been today. And it underlines the point that he and his comrades risked everything for the cause that they believed in. And similarly, Heba and her comrades are risking everything for the cause that they believe in. This is not an idle political act. This is not some of the small sacrifices that people here and people around Ireland make sometimes for politics, and that's not to dismiss them. But these are people who are risking everything. And those men in 1981 died because a British government let them. It put them in a situation such as these where they were left with no choice. We cannot allow that to happen. The British government cannot allow that to happen. But unfortunately, every day and every hour matters at this stage. Heba and her comrades are, and it is a difficult thing to say, but they're undoubtedly in a lethal situation at this point in time. Agus táidir an sin in anion nach bhfuil idir tiontathe nach bhfuil tríal fiú amháin gan focail le rá ar ANP nós. They haven't faced a trial, there is no prospect of a trial, not to mind conviction or sentencing. And the grotesque irony of it, this terrorism act in 2000 was brought in and people said, well, couldn't it be weaponised against campaigning organisations? People actually talk about Greenpeace and things like that. at the time. And they said, no, that's absurd. That would never happen, it would never be used. And the cruel irony, and it would be farce if it wasn't so serious, to see it weaponized against people, that people arrested on public order offences looking at being in prison for over a year and a half, and in many instances being denied some of their most fundamental rights. And that is why these people are on hunger strike, such as Heba, such as Lewie, such as her comrades. And we talked about the hunger strike carries resonance in Ireland because of the history right back to Tomás Hawes in 1917, because it speaks to dignity, it speaks to peaceful protest, it speaks to resilience, and that those, such as the Lord Mayor of Cork said many years ago, that those who will suffer the most will persevere. But you know what we will also resonate here? Internment. And that's what I consider it to be when you take somebody, arrest them on a public order offence, keep them for a year and a half without any prospect of trial. I might walk back to internment. My message to Keir Starmer is very simple. Do not repeat the mistakes, the crimes. And, you know, we talk about crimes and the cruel irony of people being in this situation where the crimes against humanity that we've seen in the last few years go unpunished, and crimes against Palestinians right now by settlers go unpunished. But do not let the crimes of the past be repeated. Don't let them die. Do not let them die.
Don't let them die.
And my message to the Irish government, for Micheál Martin, for Simon Harris and Helen McEntee, because it's been raised dozens of times, they're well aware of it. They've given no indication that they have ever raised it, despite numerous requests. Hector Dunn, Nachwilchi Trish, Wackarog, Wacky Yenif. But my message is simple. Words of regret and sorrow, if one of these people die, is no good. It is no good. You have a voice, you may use it. In the name of justice and decency, use your voice or let it be on your conscience.
Thank you very much for that really powerful speech. I will be at the British Embassy from 11:30 tomorrow morning. So anybody that can, please join them there. We're going to now have some music from the Resistance Choir and a poem from Anya Hayden while the choir is setting up. So please welcome Anya.
Really great to see so much solidarity for these. It's gone? Oh. It's okay. Okay. Close. I just said it's really fantastic to see so much solidarity. This is a poem I wrote before Christmas in anger, and I've been asked to read it again. Kites. They celebrated my birth as I drowned in a tent in Gaza. They celebrated my birth as settlers took my home and my land. There was no manger of hay, no lowing of sheep. They celebrated my birth as I died from the cold in my sleep. And nothing has ceased. And the three wise men, their gifts of shelter, food and medicine, held at the border tight. A bright star beckoned, but a gun threatened. They celebrated my birth with frankincense and myrrh, caviar and fur, but still I died. Then somewhere, a lullaby, and somewhere, quietly, 8 people hungered for my safety. Now 4, Heba, Kamran, Lewie, and Umar has rejoined them, like 4 beautiful kites, like angels over Gaza, risking their lives for mine. A tale of hope, just like Rafat said there would be. Don't let them die.
Hello, we're the Resistance Choir, and the song we're going to sing is an old civil rights song which we have adapted for this evening. Nobody
Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. Ain't gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching on to freedom land.
no jail cell.
Ain't gonna let no jail cell turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no jail cell turn me around. It's gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching on to freedom land.
No government.
Ain't gonna let no government turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no government turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching on to freedom land.
No proscribing. Conscription.
Ain't gonna let no prescription turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no prescription turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching on to freedom land.
Keir Starmer.
Ain't gonna let Keir Starmer turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let Keir Starmer turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching on to freedom land.
Nobody.
Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching on to freedom land. Gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. They're gonna let nobody turn me around. We're gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching on to freedom land, marching on to freedom land.
What's your resistance?
Thanks very much. In case I forget to say it, I spoke to my dad last night, and when Bobby Sands died, my father hung a black flag out my bedroom window in Donaghmede, where we were living at the time. And shortly afterwards, my father got a phone call to say, "Is that the best thing you should be doing now? Is that the wisest thing?" But he stuck to it. He stuck to his guns, and in our family, we've always felt a strong affinity with anti-imperialism and particularly with hunger strikers. So that's why we're both here today. I didn't even know he was coming. So I am a member of the Irish Lawyers for Palestine. I'm not sure if any of our other members are here, but we wrote yesterday to the leader of the Labour Party, who was a practicing lawyer, asking her to contact the leader of the British Labour Party, who is, in inverted commas, of the highest order, a former human rights lawyer, asking him to directly intervene and save the lives of the hunger strikers. The hunger strikers' demands are very simple, just as the hunger strikers' demands in 1981 were very simple. Heba, Kamran, Lewis and Umar have asked for 5 things: to end all censorship. The British government and the British state apparatus are stopping them from working together to defend their cases and obviously to delegitimise their campaign and it's a breach of their legal right to defend their campaign properly. Their second request is for immediate bail. They've been on remand without a trial for almost a year at this stage. The statutory minimum normally in the UK is 6 months. So it'll just show you the extraordinary lengths that the British government are going to delegitimise their campaign. The third demand is a right to a fair trial. Anybody of my vintage or older will certainly know that getting a fair trial for anybody who's an anti-imperialist and anti-colonialist in Britain, Tommy was here earlier, they will subscribe to the notion that getting a fair trial in Britain is a difficult task at the best of times. They've also called for the deprescribing of Palestine action. The proscribing of Palestine action occurred on the same day as the proscription of two other organisations. I'm sure some of you are aware of that. Two neo-Nazi, blatantly far-right, white nationalist, neo-Nazi, dedicated to death and destruction organisations. Palestine Action is dedicated to saving lives in Palestine. The hypocrisy of the prescription is extraordinary. And their fifth demand is for the shutting down of Ailbhe Systems. And we all know what Ailbhe Systems are doing, constructing and supplying drones, munitions, all the tactics that the Israeli regime require to conduct genocide in Gaza. The British government's response to the genocide case brought by South Africa was to dismiss it as nonsense and deeply offensive. The Irish government had to be dragged kicking and screaming, but eventually they did intervene on the side of South Africa and support the genocide case. But unfortunately, the Irish government have yet to pass, after years and years of Francis Black and many other people here trying to pass the Occupied Territories Bill. They're doing the bare minimum against the wishes of the vast majority of the Irish people. And while I'm talking about the Irish government, I have to say, Jim O'Callaghan as Minister for Justice is talking about Ireland moving away from or encouraging the Irish state from moving away from the European Convention on Human Rights, which was developed immediately after World War II in the ruins of a Europe that had been destroyed by fascism and by genocide, and they want to move away from the European Convention on Human Rights. Not only that, and as somebody who represents refugees in this country, yesterday he announced bringing in a restriction on applying for family reunification, and this applies to Palestinian refugees as well. If you get granted refugee status in Ireland, and that is the Irish government acknowledging that you are entitled to international protection, they will make you wait 3 years before you can bring your spouse and your children over to this country. So even though they acknowledge that there is a genocide going on in Gaza, or that there is slaughter going on in Afghanistan or in Sudan, they will make you wait 3 years before you can bring your family over here. It is the most disgusting announcement of many obnoxious and appalling announcements that Jim O'Callaghan has made since his appointment.
Great.
As I said, the International Criminal Court has arrest warrants out for Netanyahu and for Yoav Gallant, and the colonial powers refuse to enforce those arrest warrants. They're going further than that. The American government are sanctioning the judges of the ICC, and they are also sanctioning the amazing Special Rapporteur on Palestine, Francesca Albanese. Francesca cannot even open a bank account. She can't book a room in a hotel in her own name. They're doing everything they can. The settler colonial regimes are grouping together to try and allow this genocide to continue. And there's a very good reason why, because they're not going to stop at Gaza. It is going to spread. We see what's happening in America, what the American government are doing to their own citizens with the murder of a woman who was simply standing in solidarity with migrants in America. The plague of the Israeli regime was started by the British Balfour Declaration in 1917, as Tommy mentioned earlier on. The only Jewish member of the British cabinet at the time of the passing of the Balfour Declaration, a man called Edwin Montagu. He is the only one that stood up and absolutely opposed the Balfour Declaration. He said it was anti-Semitic. And yet the British government, to this day, they weaponize and support the genocide in Gaza and the occupation of Palestine. The Irish government must do everything they can to stop this genocide, far more than what they're doing, and we stand in solidarity with the hunger strikers here today. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Go along with it.
Thanks so much, Gary. Thank you so much.
I stand here today with all of you in solidarity with the Palestine Action hunger strikers, with activists, with organizers, and with everybody worldwide resisting genocidal Zionism. And most importantly, we stand here today in solidarity with the people of Palestine, with those in Gaza, with those in wider Palestine, and with all Palestinians driven into exile in the rest of the world. Oh my God. Whoa. Palestinians have been facing down the might of the Israeli so-called state for decades. They have been resisting genocide, they have been resisting displacement, they have been resisting ethnic cleansing, and the rest of the world and most governments look on. The British government, the US government, and the Irish government are complicit in the attempted erasure of the people of Palestine. You know this, I know this, they know this, and where are they? They're not here. They are not with us. We have heard time and again tonight that they water down the bare minimum that is the Occupied Territories Bill. It is pathetic. It is cowardly. I am ashamed of our government, and I am ashamed of their lack of action, not only for Palestine, but for these hunger strikers. Oh God, I'm so sorry. I think what's really important today, and what we've heard time and again, is that what we do here matters, that this protest matters, that the work of the IPSC matters, and that we have to keep showing up. We have to keep pushing them and keep reminding them that they don't represent us unless they stand for Palestine. I'm with you. We're in it together. Solidarity with Palestine Action, solidarity with the hunger strikers, and solidarity with Palestine forever.
Written by the IPSC and sent to Keir Starmer and his British government this morning. It was signed also by the Irish Congress of 10 unions trade unions and 30 other civil society and organisations. Dear Prime Minister Starmer, today, January 13th, Heba Muraisi has been on hunger strike for 72 days. Kamran Ahmed has been on hunger strike for 65 days. Lewie, Chiaramello, who has type 1 diabetes, has been on an alternate day hunger strike for 51 days. They are all in danger of immediate death. We call on you and your government to immediately talk to Heba Muraisi, Kamran Ahmed, and Lewie, Chiaramello and their representatives. We call on you to ensure that these brave young people who stand against genocide do not die in your custody. As UN experts in their December 26 statement calling for the protection of the lives and rights of hunger strikers said, the state bears full responsibility for the lives and well-being of those it detains. Heba Muraisi, Kamran Ahmed and Lewie, Chiaramello have been convicted of no crime. All three are detained on remand. Heba and Ahmed have been held for 15 months with trial due at the earliest in June 2026. Lewie was arrested in July 2025 and has a provisional court date in January 2027. These periods far exceed the normal maximum remand period of 6 months. Amnesty International UK has described that hunger strikers as victims of the UK's excessively broad terrorism laws, which have been misused to escalate ordinary criminal prosecutions of direct action protesters into terrorism cases, and has called for an end to excessively lengthy pre-trial detention and the dropping of the allegations of terrorism connection. We call for the immediate release of bail of Heba, Muraisi, Kamran Ahmed and Lewie Chiaramello, and all Palestine Action activists currently being held on remand in prison. In October 2025, Heba was transferred from HMP Bronzefield to HMP Newhall against her wishes, hundreds of miles away from her family and support system in London, which are crucial as her health deteriorates. This is in violation of her rights to maintain meaningful contact with her family. Heba has requested a transfer back to HMP Bronzefield so that her mother can visit her. It is singularly cruel and inhumane to deny this request. We support the demands of the hunger strikers for a fair trial and the ending of the farcical and frankly outrageous prescription of Palestine Action. We are committed to ending complicity with genocide, whether that is through the supply of arms, the transport of arms, the export of dual-use goods, and the enabling of fundraising for genocide through Israeli bonds. We call on Britain to stop arming Israel. Ailbhe Systems, which supplies weapons to Israel for use in its genocide against the Palestinian people in Gaza, should be shut down. In 1981, Margaret Thatcher said, and the Conservative government presided over the death of 10 hunger strikers in Ireland. We call on you and the Labour government not to preside over the deaths of Heba, Kamran and Lewie. We call for the immediate release of Heba, Kamran and Lewie on bail and for fair trial without delay. We call on you to ensure that Heba, Kamran and Lewie do not die on your watch and in custody in your prisons. We call for the ending of the prescription of Palestine Action and the shutting down of Ailbhe Systems. Yours sincerely. And we are saying clearly, do not let them die.